So before we move on to implementing, editing, and deleting notes, there's one small bug we need to fix. If I go into a note, it works fine. But if I reload the page, we get this error stating that the property title is undefined and our note doesn't load. And why is that? Our note was loading before. Well, if we go to this URL directly, it'll load the show page, and the show page will expect a note to exist. So looking at the code, all we have is a single render function, which takes in a note and then renders it. So to fix this issue, we need to introduce a way to delay this show page from showing anything until the notes have loaded. So the first thing we could do is, in this render function, we could add a check to see if our note is null, and if it is, we can just return straight out of this render and hide the page. Now if we go back to our browser and reload the page, now we get a flash and the page loads up. But this isn't a very robust solution. What we can do instead is, by going back to our app class, we can add a new state property called loading. And we'll use this to give our app a loading state, where we can tell it what to do depending on whether it's loading or not. So we can extract our app content from our main app div, and we'll put it in its own render content function. And then we'll call that function from our main render. Now, inside of our render content function, we can check to see if our app state is loading or not. And if we are loading, we'll just return a message back to the user saying that we're loading, and we'll hold off from rendering the rest of the app until we're ready. Now up in our component did mount function, we can also set our loading state to false, since at this point we'll have loaded. And if we go back to our browser and refresh the page, you'll see a very quick loading message appear, and then our note appears. And back to our home page, and if we refresh here, we also see a quick loading message, and our app is loaded.